Well, the GoPro Hero 12 has officially been announced. It's available for pre-order. We got our order in. And it's a little bit weird with the release this year because they're announcing it like a week ahead of time, but it's not actually shipping until next week. And all of the initial reviewers who got the camera early aren't allowed to give their opinions until a couple of days. But guess what? That's not us.
Yeah, we're not beholden to that. So here's some opinions. My main opinion on the release is that at first when they tell you all these things, it doesn't look like there's anything that major. However, when you add it all up, it's actually a lot.
Yeah, so the first thing that we think is a pretty big deal is the price of the GoPro. So it's actually gone down. Everybody thought it was going to go up, and it has gone up over the past few models. But this Hero 12 is now $399, and you don't have to get the GoPro subscription. They've actually stopped pushing the subscription earlier this year.
Yeah, that's pretty major that you can get it for the same price as their main competitor. So now it's a matter of which one is the better camera, right? You don't even need to consider the price difference. So what is actually the first feature that we're excited about?
So the first feature we're extremely excited about is the ability to shoot either HDR video or 10-bit log video. So it's really improving the video quality.
Yeah, HDR is a very exciting feature because one of the main issues with filming out in the daylight is you get a lot of contrasting shadows and highlights, and this will correct them for you in camera. That is really invaluable.
And previous GoPros have had the ability to shoot in flat, but we haven't had the ability to shoot log. So I believe this might be GoPro's first time allowing for log recording, and they even just released their first LUTs, first of many to come, I'm sure.
So if you think about it, they're giving a feature for people who don't want to do anything outside of camera, and feature to people who do want to do post-processing. Each is taken care of much more so when it comes to contrast.
The next feature we're extremely excited about is the next iteration of Hypersmooth, which is already very good, but apparently it can get better.
Yeah, it has been getting better every single version. The Auto Boost was a new introduction for last one, and it is a powerful feature which they claim they've worked much harder on this time, and that saves you a lot of the image when you have to stabilize. Otherwise you would lose some of the image for no reason. Now the camera intelligently can pick, and much more so than the previous model, which is good. We like that a lot.
The next feature is the ability to pair Bluetooth headphones with the camera. And so you would mostly use this to take advantage of the Bluetooth headphones and the built-in microphone. So you can, potentially record audio this way, and you can also give the GoPro commands.
Now, we ourselves don't use Bluetooth headphones because they just emit radiation in your brain, but others do. It's a huge market, and what this does is ease of use. We complain about the chance of adding a mic. There's no jack and things like that, so that goes around it. However, we heard some testing, and it sounds like a telephone voice or a radio voice. It doesn't sound like a proper microphone, honestly.
Yeah, so it may not do a whole lot in terms of audio quality, but I like the direction that GoPro is going in, because hopefully they can open this up so that we can attach any other kind of Bluetooth microphones out there. So hopefully that's something we see in the future. The next feature is actually another product, but that is the Max Lens Mod 2.0.
And we bought and reviewed the older Max mod, and it was a good one, we thought. And we're excited that now it reaches the full resolution of 4K.
The previous Max Lens mod was capped at 2.7K, but now you can shoot up to 4K 60 with the new Max Lens mod, and also the field of view got even wider.
Yeah, I hit that question when they first talked about Hyperview was there already in place, which is a great feature, and now we're talking about yet another add-on which is significant, and then it logs the horizon for it. Therefore, you would get a huge field of view, and it will not be like crazy like this, because that was a big problem with being unable to stabilize the horizon in those hyper wide views.
Yeah, so we bought the new Max Lens mod along with the GoPro Hero 12, so we'll be testing out both in upcoming videos. The next feature, it might seem a little minor to some of you guys, but I think it's actually a pretty big thing for GoPro. It actually came out on the Hero 11, but they added a lot of night shooting modes. And it mostly relates to time lapses. It's not really for low light shooting in regular video, but they're expanding on their low light or night shooting modes for time lapses, which I think is really big because that gives them a leg up over DJI, which is not currently offering that on their Osmo Action 4.
I know Susie loves to do the star photos and the time lapses every time we travel, so she's excited about that one.
Yeah, very excited.
The next thing they are boasting is that the battery life has increased by double. Now, there is a small print on that, and that is in the highest, most demanding modes, like 5.3K or slow motion. but in the mode we shoot in 4K 30, it is up around 15%, which to me is somewhere between alright and significant. It's not exactly either way, but it is a welcome thing for GoPro users who have been complaining about this a long time.
So those are the features that we're most excited about. We think they're actually a big deal for this release. But there are a bunch of other features that GoPro has added which are less of a big deal. So the first one is going to be the inclusion of a 1/4-20 mount on the bottom of the camera. So we still have the GoPro folding fingers if you want to use those, but now they've added the option to use that 1/4-20 mount if you want to do that instead.
I would put that up there with the major actually, because having to switch these mounts was a pain in the ass, especially the feet, legs, fingers, whatever. Now the issue is we shoot with a media mode and that still has no screw.
Yeah, that's true. I categorize this as a lower level thing because you can actually buy that as like a third-party add-on for like $10. And you can actually mod like your Hero 9, your Hero 10, your Hero 11. You can actually add that feature yourself if you want to. So it's just a little interesting to me that GoPro is now including that when you can already kind of DIY it yourself. The next feature is one that they used to have and they actually took it away, but they're reintroducing it, and that's the ability to see your preview in the phone app if you have the GoPro connected to your phone. I don't know why this was taken away in the first place, but with the Hero 12, it's back.
Yeah, that is something we like to do when the camera is away from us, like in a car or something like that.
The next thing they did is that they updated the UI just a little bit based on some screenshots that I've seen. It seems like it's not a massive update, but they did make it a little bit easier to navigate the camera. And along those lines, I think that there's like a new vertical shooting mode where you can potentially shoot vertically without having to turn the camera on its side. I think that's a good thing, but I also would like to have seen GoPro make it easier to shoot vertically by just turning the camera, because you can already do that. But I'd like to see it in the form of like an official GoPro mount that would let you mount the camera vertically, which is something that DJI does do. So those are the features that we think are just okay. They're not like a major upgrade. But now there are two things that we actually think are downsides to this Hero 12. The first thing is going to be the outside look of it.
Yeah, so they've added specs. It makes it look like you splattered it with paint. We don't understand why that was necessary. We don't like it. We like ours to be as incognito as possible.
And the final negative is that they supposedly removed GPS. Now, I saw some people talking about this, but there are people in the comments that claim that the specs say otherwise. But it does sound like GPS is indeed gone on the Hero 12, which is a pretty big miss because I think it's been present on, a bunch of the most recent GoPros. And we don't actually use GPS, but we just turn it off. So it's really interesting that they chose to remove GPS altogether rather than just giving people the option to turn it on or turn it off.
Yeah, so I'm a software developer. I kind of know like these decisions are made. It is constantly there eating battery and processing power. That's why the average user is not going to go in and turn it off, so they're going to complain, going to have bad reputation and so on. So that's probably why they removed it. That's my guess.
Yeah, it was probably because now they have more battery life, they're having overheating issues, so it makes sense. But I do know that especially in the action community, like a lot of people like GPS to do like the overlays and for other various reasons. So, for us, it's not a big deal that it's gone, but I know in general, a lot of people liked having GPS on the camera. And to my knowledge, you can't even add it because the Osmo Action 4, it's not built into the camera, but you can have a remote control that will add GPS. And so maybe GoPro will go that route in the future.
It can be done through an app truly as well.
Yeah. So those are the big features that are coming out in the GoPro Hero 12. But at the end of the day, the big question is it enough to make you want to upgrade your GoPro?
So personally, I think this is actually a good release because when you combine it with the price drop, they actually end up equaling the price of their main competitor, while they actually offer more features in a variety of ways. I really like that you can crop yourself either a vertical or a horizontal image. I like the HDR, which will make these highlights all around us tamed. And so I think it's a strong release with that bigger sensor and the same price,
I agree with you in the sense that GoPro is still capitalizing on what they are doing best, which is offering the best image quality. And I think that, if you have a GoPro Hero 11 like we do, you don't necessarily need to upgrade to this one because it does feel a bit like just a firmware upgraded version of the Hero 11. But if you've got an older GoPro, like a Hero 10 or Hero 9, or definitely a Hero 7 or below, then this is going to be a huge upgrade for you.
Yeah, you would see a big difference from those models, even though they were just like 2 years ago. And what we see is, yes, a very shiny look, glossy, colorful look, which we now know to associate with GoPro. In the same time, they're giving even more depth of field, more stable image, so it starts looking even nicer and crisper.
Now, with all that said, I still think that the DJI Osmo Action 4 is still ahead in terms of a lot of the usability features. Things like that front-facing touchscreen, the magnetic quick release. There are still reasons to choose DJI instead. But overall, I think it's actually good for all of us as consumers that there's a strong competitor, and that's making GoPro have to make changes as well.
Yeah, competition is good for the consumer. Personally, I'm favoring the better look usually. Other people are different about it. But there are also things we didn't get, and there were speculations about the 1-inch sensor. We mentioned in our last video how for us, we actually would need a different camera by GoPro at this point, which would combine the media mode. And that reminds me, the media mode is still the same for 3 generations now. It has not been touched, and therefore they are due for something there. So let's hope in the future that we can get the perfect camera from GoPro, and it will be bigger and give you the media, mic, and all those connectivities with it.
Another thing we didn't see was an update about the Hero 11 Mini, which is still the smallest camera that they're making, but we would like to see another small camera. You know, the Hero 11 Mini that we tried out was not actually that mini, it's actually quite big. So if they can continue down the line of that original Hero session and really shrink that camera down, I think that there are quite a few users out there who would like to see more of that.
They do exist, and there are the users like us, they want the camera to be a little bigger and more powerful. So if GoPro was to satisfy those markets, we think it would be a win.
And one final camera that we haven't heard anything about is the GoPro Max, so their 360 camera, which is also, you know, due for an update at this point because there is another very strong competitor, Insta360, who is just killing it with the 360 market right now.
Yeah, so let's keep an eye out for possible future models.